What actually happened to the abstracted characters? Well, to figure this out, first we have to look at all of the crossed off characters in the hallway, and afterwards we are going to be analyzing each abstracted character one by one and theorize what made them abstract. And then we are going to find out if this can tell us who is going to abstract next in the show. Starting with the purple dinosaur, the first character we see in the hallway with the next crossed over their face. One of the newer characters, Gummy Goo, is sort of similar in the fact that they are reptilian epimorphic creatures, but not much is known about either character at this point. Second, we've got the black chess piece Queenie, who is theorized by the community to have been Kinger's wife, and I suspect that Kinger might hold the key to her abstraction. Gooseworks has talked a little bit about this on Tumblr, but she hasn't revealed much besides the fact that her name is Queenie. Gooseworks isn't always this secret about something, so it makes me think that Queenie holds the key to this whole mystery that is Kinger. So it makes me think that Queenie has some sort of real significance to the amazing digital circus later in the episodes. Third, we got some weird looking jester, kind of like Pomni, who appears to be almost exactly the same besides her body shape. Maybe this jester looking guy was the one who was replaced by Kaufmo, because we know from the pilot episode when somebody abstracts in the circus, a new member immediately replaces them. Many clown characters have gone abstracted, but as you'll see later in this video, there have been a lot of other clown characters that have abstracted. The fourth character we see is this gum monster looking thing. I think it's possible that they could be connected to the new Candy Queen. Maybe they knew each other at some point. I think it's possible that the Candy Monster could have been some sort of bodyguard or something for this queen. But whatever the case, they were definitely in some way related to the Candy Canyon Kingdom. Which is weird because in an earlier video I made, I theorized that all of the new characters we're getting are NPCs. But this is telling me that one or two of them might actually become members of the circus. The fifth character we got is this dong with a long neck. None of the 8 new characters we got are even similar to this one, but I think this character looks a bit strange, and maybe there's more to him that meets the eye. This character's name is Dobby, but he plays a bigger part, so let's talk about him later in the video. Sixth, we got this furry worm thing, which is called a squirmel or a snoot. Similarities between this guy and the new Candy Monster can be drawn, but we can draw some similarities between this guy and the new Candy Monster. They are both similar to some sort of worm or snake. This character is kinda strange though, as it seems it is the only character without any kind of legs or appendages to stand on. Seventh is this honestly creepy looking yellow and blue clown guy. None of the new characters really remind me of him all that much, and he honestly looks more like fan art than a real character in my opinion. He seems to be another early version of Pomni or Kaufmo, and at this point I'm starting to wonder why there are so many clown characters that go abstracted. I have a theory that maybe all of the clown characters are connected, and the fact that they can see all of the exit doors, but none of them have successfully exited out of the circus yet. It's only a matter of time before one of them succeeds. The final abstracted character is this one we see right here, but honestly he is way too low quality for me to even make out what he is, so let me know your theories about what this is in the comments below. But now I want to theorize what happens to a character when they abstract. We currently don't have much content involving abstracted characters, but I'll go with what we got. The first thing I wondered is what exactly will become of a circus member who is abstracted? Do they become some sort of zombie, or is it more like a parasite, where they still have some sort of control but lose their sense of physical form and become more aggressive, almost like an animal with rabies? Well, let's think about what we've got when it comes to these abstracted monsters. The only one we saw in action was Kaufmo when he got abstracted.
Earlier, when you reach your breaking point? Okay, wait. Maybe there's still time to fix him if we get Kane.
When Ragatha and Pomni pay a visit to Kaufmo, we see that his room is completely vandalized with this insane and erratic writing all over the walls with images of himself, Kane, and the exit door. But his room looks generally disheveled because he was going insane. Then, he begins to chase Ragatha and Pomni out. Ragatha pleads for her life and explains that she was fake laughing at his jokes only because she had a bad day. And we see that Kaufmo sort of targets Ragatha, something to keep in mind. Then, he goes on a rampage all throughout the circus, destroying things and trying to hurt the other members of the circus, as well as violently thrashing the Gloink Queen. After that, the gang meets back up with Kane, who fixes up Ragatha and puts Kaufmo back in the cellar with the rest of the abstracted characters. So firstly, is Kaufmo still in there somewhere? Well, let's go back to the chase scene.
Whoa, Kaufmo, listen. I know we didn't always get along, like when you called me out for fake laughing at your jokes. I swear I really did think they were funny. I was just having a bit of a bad day. Hey, Pomni. Thank you. Help me out here. I understand. You don't want to. Oh.
If you didn't notice, Ragatha seems to have been afraid of Kaufmo and assumed that he was still upset with her, which seems to be because of him targeting her instead of Pomni, with Ragatha using that as plea. I am going to assume that he got quite upset the first time when she fake laughed, which is why she's assuming that he's upset with this all that time later. Is Kaufmo upset though? I'm not sure. He does go right after Ragatha, but he also goes after Pomni, the Gloinks, the Gloink Queen, and more. So is he really holding a grudge against Ragatha? Probably not. Honestly, if he was really still upset about it, he probably would have finished Ragatha off while he quite obviously still had the chance. But he instead got distracted and went after Pomni. This makes me think that once a circus member gets abstracted, it's almost like a zombie, and there is no humanity left inside, and they have been fully taken over into some sort of monster. Sadly, this also implies that an abstracted character cannot be saved from their new state, at least not easily. Now, as we know, before Pomni came, there were 6 main characters: Zubul, Gengal, Kaufmo, Ragatha, Jax, and Kinger. Pomni only came in after Kaufmo was abstracted. That means that there are only 6 characters that can be in the circus cast at a time, so these characters can't possibly all know each other. We all know that Kinger was there the longest, so we can assume that he probably knows all of these people, especially Queenie. Maybe Kinger is crazy because he has seen every friend he has had abstract. What caused them to all go crazy? Well, in the first episode, Pomni and Ragatha talk about quote-unquote the really bad things that happen when you lose your mind, and about 2 minutes later, it's revealed that this really bad thing in fact is being abstracted.
Constantly chasing an unattainable goal will start driving you a bit crazy, and eventually you get to asking what the point of anything is, and you completely lose sight of who you are and why you're even alive, and when you reach your breaking point, something really terrible can happen.
We are shown what Kaufmo's room looks like, and that pretty much tells us exactly why he abstracted in the first place. Although on the wall, you can see all of the writing about the exit, about Kane, and about the circus in general. All of Kaufmo's time in the circus was him driving crazy, and like Pomni, he was able to see the exits as well, which the rest of the gang might not be able to see, which suggests that Pomni is a direct replacement for Kaufmo, rather than just having a random pick. Besides all this, we don't know why the rest of them abstracted. It's possible that they began seeing an exit, and that's a sign of abstraction starting, and maybe Pomni is going through a very early stage of abstraction. Currently though, it's not possible to tell. Finally, I want to talk about how the rest of the characters in the gang could possibly abstract later in the show. Firstly, and most likely, Pomni would probably abstract because of looking for the exit. She would look for the exit every day as long as she could without getting caught by Kane, and playing along with the games that he puts them through. I definitely think with all we know, she is most likely to become abstracted just like Kaufmo. Next, I think it's a possibility for both Gengal and Ragatha to abstract due to their incessant bullying they receive from Jax. As you know, throughout the whole first episode, Jax bullies Ragatha and Gengal all the time, breaking Gengal's masks and pushing her all over, or by telling Ragatha that there could possibly be a centipede in her room because he knows that it's her worst fear. It's obvious that those two are getting bullied by Jax the most, and from all that relentless bullying that Jax puts on them, of course they could simply go insane. I mean, he never leaves them alone. Even in the new teaser image, we see Ragatha almost pulling her hair out while Jax grins, because he simply just knows that it's irritating her. Next, I think that Jax could possibly abstract. He seems to know his way around the circus quite well, even having keys to everyone's room. I think that maybe the reason he bullies everyone is because he is possibly on the brink of insanity himself. Anything he can do to have some entertainment, he will do it. And if he has to bully everyone to do so, then he will. Next, we got Zubul. Honestly, I'm not sure if she is going to abstract, but if she does, maybe it's just because she can't take it anymore. Last but not least though, we got Kinger. At face value, this guy seems really close to abstracting. I mean, look at the guy, he is just genuinely insane. But at the same time, if Kinger ever thought of abstracting, he would probably just forget 2 seconds later, so I don't really think that this one is likely. One final thing I want to talk about though is the cellar. If you look, the cellar is just a dark pit full of darkness and abstracted characters and monsters where Kane puts them so they can't do any more damage or harm to anyone. But I think that this is a very throw it under the rug solution. I think it's very possible that eventually the abstracted monsters will grow weary and tired of being in the prison and want to escape. When they do escape, everyone will be in grave danger and it's up to the circus members and Kane to get rid of them, but I'm not exactly sure how they would. But anyways, that's all I have to talk about today about abstraction. But if you want to know more about the amazing digital circus, then you should click on this video right here.